Yeah, it was a very ranging discussion. We gave them an update on the state of the U.S. economy, which is going very well thanks to President Trump. We received their views on trade, the European economy, and how the Spanish-U.S. relationship can be strengthened. We were told that Spain is opening a trade office in Houston, Texas, which we were very happy about.
And we talked about the progress of the U.S.-EU trade deal, which brings great stability to both of our countries. We talked about Spain and how the United States has a trade surplus with Spain, which is a hallmark of a good, healthy trade relationship, so we commended them for that.
Spain is building ever stronger economic ties with China. What risks do you see in that relationship with Spain?
Well, any kind of agreement that we have with another country, or in this case with the European Commission, we want to make sure that the benefits of that agreement are between the U.S. And the EU and Spain as part of that. So obviously anytime we have a deal, we want to make sure that other countries aren't used as a jumping off point for Chinese trade, for example. If we're going to trade with China, which we will, want to have a deal with China. If we're going to have a deal with the EU about EU-US trade, we want it to cover US-EU trade.
Any more details?
Did you also discuss about purchasing Russian oil? So US requested China stop to purchasing Russian oil.
It was mentioned, but not a centerpiece of the discussion.
Anti-money laundering is on the agenda. Do you anticipate any lowering of the fentanyl tariffs or anything on that matter?
Well, anti-money laundering is different than the importation of precursor drugs. The money laundering is the result of fentanyl sales, and both the People's Republic of China's government and the U.S. government and citizens are hurt by the money laundering. The money laundering cadres are actually the offspring of groups that are evading China's capital controls, and they have now morphed into money laundering for the Mexican drug cartels. So we discussed ways that we could work together, and the Chinese delegation was very keen to work with us. It was an area of extreme agreement.
What about the
Sorry?
Well, of course that came up. There was some discussion on where we stand. As you know, right now we have a 90-day pause in effect with respect to U.S. tariffs on China and Chinese severe controls on rare earth minerals. We have been renewing that pause periodically. The current pause is set to expire November 10th. We're certainly open to considering further action there. If the talks continue in a positive direction, the United States is receiving rare earths much better than they were before. However, there's still work to be done there.
Can you talk about
We discussed the poor timing of the NVIDIA investigation the day of these talks.
How are the Fed interviews going?
I think we'll wait till we're back on U.S. soil to talk about that. One thing I will say is that that I'm respecting the Fed's quiet period, which they have before every meeting, and so it's convenient for me to be here. So no current Fed officials are interviewed during the Fed quiet period.
Any more details about TikTok?
I think we'll wait for it to be confirmed by the leaders.
Can we say we have got another extension to TikTok with the Chinese company? Another extension?
Well, on that point, we believe we have an agreement. It's just subject to the leaders' approval. So if you need to extend it by some period of time just to get it signed, etc., that's one thing. But we're not going to be in the business of having repetitive extensions. We have a deal. If there's some extension needed just to get it signed, etc., that's one thing. But there's just no ongoing extensions.
It would not have been extended without a framework.
Right.
Any other international politics we should talk about a lot, about Ukraine, Russia?
We had a full menu for 2 days of talks.
Thank you very much.
Summarize the talk with some people.
Respectful, wide-ranging, in-depth. Any more words from you, Ambassador Brewer?
Productive.
I think that's just about it for time, guys. We can take one last question if anybody has one.
Do we have a time frame for TikTok? You know, in the next few hours, might we get some kind of release and more details? Will it remain on the tariffs, or is it going to switch to U.S. ownership? Any more details you can give us there?
Well, I think the framework is for it to switch to U.S.-controlled ownership. But again, I'm not going to get ahead of the leaders' call on Friday. We have a framework. They'll have to confirm the deal.